Hello, and welcome to everGEEK Boulevard. Steve's the name, and if there's anything that I love more, it's movies and games. The topic of the day today is the recent PlayStation showcase that took place on Wednesday, May 24th, and man, what a show. Now, take that how you will. I, for one, was a little bit let down by this showcase, and I'll delve more into that later in the video when I give my overall thoughts. But right now, let's recap on the big announcements that were shown. First up is Fair Games, a brand new IP from new studio Haven, which is being headed up by Jade Raymond, the creator of the original Assassin's Creed, as well as one of the spearheads of the Watch Dogs franchise. According to the PlayStation blog, the premise of the title is a PvP experience that, quote, gives you an opportunity to break the rules as a modern-day Robin Hood, a thrill seeker, or just someone who wants to collect cool loot. Trespass inside forbidden locations around the world, fill your pockets like a kid in a candy store, and unravel the nefarious plans of untouchable billionaires. Now, despite that, I wish there was some gameplay mixed in, but I guess they just felt they needed to show something so that the show wouldn't be so bare with the amount of announcements that may or may not be coming as the show just kicking off. We still don't know what's coming ahead of us. It's going to be hitting exclusively on PS5 and PC, but obviously no release date, as this game is most likely still very early in development. The next big announcement dropped from Arrowhead Game Studios, the follow-up to their 2015 top-down shooter Helldivers, simply called Helldivers 2. With this sequel comes a different perspective on gameplay, as it adopts a third-person shooter camera this time around to really switch up combat as you tear into vicious waves of just these alien monstrosities. And I got a lot of Starship Troopers vibes from this. I've never played the original game, but just watching that cinematic trailer, as funny as it was, it definitely gave off that Starship Trooper kind of vibe. No firm release date, unfortunately, but it is confirmed to be dropping sometime this year on PS5 and PC. Up next is Immortals of Avium, first-person magic shooter coming from Electronic Arts and Ascendant Studios. This game just looks absolutely gorgeous to me. Personally, I had never heard of this title until seeing it in the showcase, so I was immediately just intrigued by the gameplay and use of magic, so definitely keep an eye on this one because it's dropping on July 20th for PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. Next up is Ghost Runner 2, the sequel to the 2020 hit original from developer One More Level and publisher 505 Games. Supposedly, the game takes place about a year after the first one, and it's going to be introducing a lot of vehicle-based combat this time around, so there's going to be a lot of refinements as well to the already sort of winning formula of fast-paced action platforming, which is what the original was so well known for. I've never played the first one, despite it being on my radar for a while now. It's just I have such a backlog of games that I still need to get through, so it looks like I have some catching up to do, obviously. Check out Ghost Runner 2 when it drops later this year on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. This next one was just a jaw-dropper of a trailer, as a prequel to the Phantom Blade series on mobile from Studio S Game introduces Phantom Blade Zero. I don't think sword-based combat has ever looked much sweeter than this, let me tell you. Not much is shown when it comes to the story, but it does involve a samurai-like warrior who has, I think, 66 days to live before his heart explodes. No pressure or anything, right? So no release date given, but it's set to be a PS5 exclusive. Hailing from Giant Squid, the makers of Abzu and The Pathless, as well as the multiple award-winning Journey, Sword of the Sea seems to easily be a successor to Journey's type of style, with its gorgeous sandy vistas, and also, who can forget that sword-like skateboard to get you from A to B? That's just insane to me. So Journey is something that I didn't get the chance to play up until about a year or so ago, and just playing through it, it's just magical. It's not a very long, sort of experience, but it's just one of those games where it really encapsulates what video games as an art form is. If you haven't played Journey, which I'm sure most of you, if not all of you, have by now, but for the ones who haven't, check out Journey. It's just an amazing game. So sign me up for this one, please. Sword of the Sea has no release date yet, but it's going to be dropping on PS5 and PC. Coming from developer Crow Team, the Talos Principle 2 is the sequel to the critically acclaimed 2014 original. Not sure how I feel about this one, as I've never had a knack for puzzle games, at least not on this type of magnitude, so I'm not sure if this is something that's kind of in my wheelhouse. I've never played the original, of course, but I know the fan base is rabid for this one, so there's excitement for sure. The Talos Principle 2 arrives later this year for PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. I didn't expect to be so moved by this one, but Neva or Neva, not really quite sure what it's actually called, it really surprised me. Let me tell you, coming from Grizz developer Nomada Studio, Neva has a very simplistic art style to it, and then there's this wolf with antlers, and it's huge. It looks like the world that they're in is dying somehow. I don't know. I have a lot of questions, and I shed a tear or two, I won't lie. Neva is coming in 2024 to PS5, Xbox Series X and S, Nintendo Switch, and PC. Not sure how or why this got the green light, but Square Enix dropped the first trailer for their new multiplayer party shooter, they're calling it, titled Foam Stars. As you can see, this is basically a Splatoon clone, just with bubbles. No release date, but it will be coming to PS4 and PS5, so there's that.
Ready for the Foam Star party?
What the hell is even that?
Anyway, moving on. Indie developer All Possible Futures showed off a gameplay trailer for their upcoming title, The Plucky Squire. Now, at first, I thought this was going to be just a cute little 2D action platformer kind of game, and I was really surprised, as yes, it is that, but it also goes into the 3D space, which I thought was just so cool, so I'm really looking forward to this one as well. The Plucky Squire, planned for this year on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, Nintendo Switch, and PC. Already out on PC, developer Tuxedo Labs showed a console announcement trailer for Teardown, which looks like Minecraft, except your purpose is to break stuff and cause chaos doing it. Can't really complain about that. So many explosions going on that Michael Bay is literally jizzing his pants right now.
Explosions from Michael Bay! Boom! Michael Bay explosion!
Teardown releases on PS5 and Xbox Series X and S later this year. It's real, guys, and it is coming at some point within the next maybe 2 or 3 years, hopefully. Konami showed off a teaser trailer for Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, which is a remake of the original Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. It was rumored for years that this was coming out, and that Blue Point was rumored to be making it at some point, or at least a Metal Gear Solid remake in general. That's what the rumor was for a lot of that time. Only, I believe, within like the last year or so, it became more of like a Metal Gear Solid 3 remake. Turns out that is not the case. Konami's own internal development team, as well as developer Virtuous, are tackling this project together. Since this game is chronologically the first in the series, it makes sense to not put a 3 in the title, but I love the Metal Gear Solid games despite their cheesy, over-the-top dialogue, confusing storylines, so I'm very much looking forward to this, but it seems we'll have to wait quite a while before we see any more of this title, and I mean a while. Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater is dropping on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. Next game on the list comes from Dreamlit Incorporated, titled Towers of Agada. It is an open world fantasy title that utilizes building villages and planting these really strange exotic plants that grow as tall as skyscrapers. That's one of its mechanics. Characters are speaking a weird language. There's large severed hands on screen. I don't know what's going on. It looks really weird, but it looks very pretty. I gotta admit, this one seems a bit out there for me, so it's probably going to be a pass. Towers of Agada is coming in 2024 for PS5 and PC. This one was already a lock for me, but Square Enix was not just going to leave me with that weird foam party announcement and then just dip out like that. I wasn't going to accept that. Final Fantasy 16 was shown off with a launch trailer, and I can't state enough how beautiful this game looks. And check this out, guys. No day one patches for the game. None. Just unheard of. I've never had a game that I've owned where I've installed the game and I can just play it. There's always been a day one patch. There's always been bugs and fixes that need to be installed. It's just absolutely crazy to me that that is what's happening with this game right now, that we're gonna get the full game without any type of brokenness, any type of bugs or anything like that. It's complete. It's insane. Personally, this didn't need to be shown off at the showcase because we're all going to get this. There's no question about it. You know, the game's coming very soon, but that phone party trailer just left a really bad taste in my mouth. So I'm glad that this kind of changed that. Final Fantasy 16 drops exclusively on PS5 June 22nd. Remedy Entertainment surprisingly showed off a new gameplay trailer for their much anticipated sequel, Alan Wake 2. Going for a much more horror type of tone as opposed to the original, it's pretty evident that Remedy is not pulling any punches here, as the game looks just terrifying. And I'm a lover of horror games, so I could not be more excited for this. What I am worried about is that apparently Alan Wake 2 will be a digital only release. No physical disc for this one. You know, me being an advocate for physical media, I'm a little disappointed that they decided to go this route. So hopefully a disc version comes in the future. We'll have to wait and see. Alan Wake 2 drops October 17th this year for PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. You got me, Ubisoft. You got me. I thought I was done getting on my knees for you. I really thought I was, but I'll do it one last time, okay? This is it after this. No more. Never again. Assassin's Creed Mirage is the newest title in the long-running franchise and stars Basim, who was introduced in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, taking place in 9th century Baghdad. This one takes the series back to its roots by making the story more focused and not giving you a collect-a-thon of things to do and find. Very happy to hear that the game map is going to be smaller in comparison than Valhalla, but still big and dense so that there are other things to do. And man, that gameplay looked so buttery smooth. I have every main game in the franchise, so it's easily a day one purchase for me. Assassin's Creed Mirage releases on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC on October 12th. Coming from developer The Glory Society, Revenant Hill is a cute little indie title starring a cat named Twigs who sort of helps the community that he lives in. Not much to really go on here as there was no gameplay shown, but it looks interesting, so I might check it out when it releases. No date, but it is coming to PS5 and PS4. A much anticipated sequel for sure. Dragon's Dogma 2 was shown with a stunning gameplay trailer from Capcom. I've never played Dragon's Dogma before, but that trailer just immediately made me want to just go onto Amazon, buy the PS4 remaster right away because, damn, this game looks fucking amazing. Overtime is going to be my new best friend to afford all these games, let me tell you.
Spare change. Spare change, ma'am.
We got dragons, obviously. We got other giant monsters to battle, and it's being made with the RE engine, which just looks amazing in this perspective. So I'm excited to eventually be able to afford to play this at some point. Dragon's Dogma 2 is expected to release 2024 on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. Capcom also showed off a new VR mode for Resident Evil 4 Remake, and it really blows my mind how no graphical sacrifices were made for this to make it compatible with VR. It is just insane. PSVR 2 definitely needs some major wins right now, as those sales ain't looking too pretty. Resident Evil 4 VR is coming to PSVR 2, but unfortunately there is no release date. Bungie made an appearance at the showcase with a new title that harkens back to their early days called Marathon. Marathon was a trilogy of games that Bungie developed in the 90s that got a huge following and was sort of a precursor to what they could do for the Halo trilogy. Many fans are definitely excited as to what Bungie has in the works for their return to this franchise. Destiny 2's content drops right now are just making waves. And speaking of Destiny 2, Bungie also showed off a teaser trailer for The Final Shape, which showed off a very much alive Cade. So who knows what the story is there. The Final Shape is dropping in February 2024 for PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, and PC. Not much to go on at all outside of this trailer, but developer Firewalk Studios is making a PvP FPS game called Concord, which gives off a very sci-fi kind of vibe. So other than that, not much to say about it. Concord releases in 2024 for PS5, and PC. Sony next showed off a preview of their upcoming film, Gran Turismo, which is being helmed from director Neil Blomkamp and starring David Harbour in a supporting role. This film actually looks really good, and I personally like the approach they took to make this film a reality, going with that, based on a true story type of aspect about an actual player who played Gran Turismo and decided to compete and become an actual race car driver. It's really incredible. Now, I know that this is a PlayStation Studios production, but the showcase is about the games, guys. This trailer was just completely unnecessary. Come on now. Gran Turismo releases into theaters on August 11th. And then Jim Ryan's mug comes up on screen to announce a little hardware project the company is working on called Project Q. Basically, all it is an 8-inch LCD screen slapped in the middle of a DualSense controller. It looks ugly. I don't like it at all. It's going to stream games from your PS5 when connected to Wi-Fi. Oh yeah, also we get PlayStation earbuds, which just look tacky as all hell.
No. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. No. Hell no. No. I refuse. No.
So anyway, how about that Spider-Man 2 gameplay, huh? No words need to be said about this one, but I will speak many words. I'm a die-hard Spider-Man fan since I was 6 years old, and when this was finally announced at the last showcase, I was just over the moon. I could not be more excited. Then they showed gameplay at this one, and I thought my excitement was at its peak, and this just shot it up to like 15 notches. It really did. Seeing Peter fight with the black suit, switching to Miles mid-mission, new traversal upgrades and gadget upgrades, not to mention Kraven, who just looks so menacing in that first scene. I need this now. I want to play it more than any other game on my list. Simple as that. Spider-Man 2 is slated for release later this fall for PS5. And that wraps up all the big announcements for the 2023 PlayStation Showcase, and my thoughts are that it was fine. Didn't quite knock my socks off as I was expecting, and a lot of people were reasonably disappointed as there seemed to be more of a focus on live service games instead of first-party titles like whatever Bluepoint is working on, any sort of update on Wolverine, Last of Us Factions 2, which, after seeing the tweets from Naughty Dog recently, I see why it wasn't shown. There were definitely a good amount of games that piqued my interest, but all in all, I expected a lot more from Sony from this showcase. Rumors are kind of floating around in the Twitter sphere that we may have a second showcase in September, but not exactly holding my breath on that one. That wraps up my rundown and overall thoughts on the 2023 PlayStation Showcase. What did you think of it? Did you like it? Hate it? What games are you looking forward to? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel where I talk all about games and movies. Until next time, folks, keep it classy and keep it geeky.